Okay, guys, we tried this about 3 months ago, and I got some pretty positive response for doing this. It's basically where I'm going to go ahead and look at some of the comments that I've received here on the channel and respond to them kind of off the cuff. By the way, if you have not already, go ahead and check out this right here. This is my community. It's called the Portrait Club. Lots of cool stuff going on in here. We've got courses that you have access to right away. The flagship course is the one that you get access to right now, and then you just move on up from there. Month 1, month 2, 3, and then at 90 days you can do the boudoir photography, and you've got access to these two right away. But yeah, it's a really well thought out system, and you get this really amazing group of people to share it with. Let's go ahead and skip down here to some of the comments. I closed my studio in 2014 and have been using a setup similar to this ever since. So what we're talking about is a beginner flash portrait setup for under $200. This is a video I did. It's kind of a challenge to myself. Hey, can I come up with a little portrait setup, a portrait lighting setup that I could recommend to my students and you guys, the people who watch these videos, something for under $200 that would actually work, that I'd actually use. And so that's what this video was about. You can go and check that out. So this person says yes, that they've been using a similar setup. So yeah, of course it works. It's light, flexible, and economic. I built it to use up to 4 lights, but mostly I use 1 or 2 depending on the situation. When charging for your services, you need redundancy in case something breaks or malfunctions. As usual, Ed has given a clear and easy to understand explanation. Well, thank you very much. I did make a reply here. I don't know what I said. It can be very freeing to work this way. Simple, effective, affordable. 100%. That's what I said. To expand on that, I don't know, a lot of people, a lot of beginners think that they need to go for the big setup. And lots of times people are buying the wrong things. I'm always making this point that you go on Facebook Marketplace or on Amazon or lots of other places, and they're trying to sell you these what look to be like professional looking setup. And let me tell you something, these are not always as professional as they appear to be. Just because you've got something that looks like a softbox on a stand doesn't mean that the light is really the way to go. Lots of these things are CFL powered. Don't like them at all. They're too low powered for most still photography. They might work for video, and I have used them for video, but for still photography, you're going to run into some serious limitations. And lots of times what happens is that the photographer themselves don't purchase it, but maybe they poke around in Amazon and they're looking at different things, and maybe a loved one thinks it's a good idea. Hey, I'm going to order this. It's like $150. It's a 3-light setup. And it's like, wow, it's just all wrong. It's CFLs. You plug them into the outlet. You don't get enough power. The coloring for still photography is just all over the place. So you've got a lot of inconsistency there, not enough power. You need to start with flash. If you're going to use artificial lighting, start with flash photography and don't mess around with those CFLs. Watch this video. This has got some good advice in it. Not this ad here. But this video, I cover, all the basics, flash stand, the bracket, modifiers, and just really good beginner and pro way to go if you're on a budget or you just want to use minimal equipment, which I'm a big fan of. Just why spend a lot of money on stuff you don't need? Someone else says solid choices, no doubt. UT Comgrad 92 says you described the exact light kit I built as my first real kit. Impact stands, the same mounts, impact umbrellas, Godox TT600 flash units, and an X2T trigger. Now I use the TT685 or better, and that really seems to do everything that I needed to do. It says although when I bought mine, I got 2 TT600s and the X2T trigger as one group from Amazon, along with some cheap filters and slip-on modifiers. I bought the umbrellas as a kit as well, 2 translucent. So yeah, you can buy these in bundles. Really, you can put it together any way you want. Right, another comment says, excellent stuff as always, Ed. Thank you, spot on. And then we keep going on. Someone says, now do one for less than $1,200. I think that's what I did, but I guess you mean less than $200? Don't know. Let's move on to another video on backlighting. Tony Clark 5068 says, Ed, one of my biggest questions is this. If you're setting up a portrait session where you're using strip banks as rim or highlights, during your setup, how do you get the placement of the lights accurate before the talent arrives? That's a really good question. Well, let's see what I said in response here. Practice and experience gets you most of the way. If you can have someone stand in for some test shots, that really helps. Otherwise, you get things set up, take test shots with the model, adjust as needed until you get the look that you want. I really wouldn't worry about getting things perfect before the talent arrives. Again, it's going to be experience. You're going to kind of just know where the lights go if you practice a little bit. Practice with a mannequin, practice with yourself or whatever. But the thing about lighting and photography is that everything's constantly in flux as far as the placement of the lighting. You're going to have your general placement, and then once you get the talent in front of the lights, you're going to adjust things a little bit. Other than that, just, beams of light tend to be a lot wider than you would think that they would be coming out of a modifier. So yeah, don't worry so much about that precision. You're going to have to worry about your exposure settings and the lighting power. This is just stuff that you're going to adjust as you go. It's not rocket science. A lot of stuff is just done by feel. And that's why it's really, important to get that those fundamentals down early, because that's what you're going to rely on for the most part when you're trying to get things right, in the moment. This is in the video. Don't make these beginner flash photography mistakes. So one thing I learned the hard way about high-speed sync is if you're using a mirrorless camera, make sure that you're using mechanical shutter and not electronic. You'll get the banding on your image, unless you're using one of the flagship super expensive cameras that I think eliminates that on high-speed sync. So yeah, I don't use electronic shutter for anything. I think that I've never really found a need for it. I think that some people use it because they want to keep the noise down when they're taking photos. I'm not exactly sure why. This is just something that I don't use. And you'd think that somebody with a lot of, years of experience doing photography and lots of experience, even with digital and mirrorless cameras, would have tried, all the different features that are available. But I use what I need to use, and if I need to use something else, then I'll learn how to use that, and then I'll start using that. But this is just something that I've never really had to use, so I don't mess with it. All right, so let's go for one more. We're going to try this one. Favorite flash portrait lighting technique, beginner 2-light setups. All right, so I'm always telling people you've got to learn with one light. Got to know what you're doing as far as one light goes. And in this video, I cover using 2 lights. And of course, this first part here really is kind of the main setup. It just keeps disappearing. If I could just freeze it on that one spot. What am I doing here? So there's your key light, and then there's your second light. That's usually going to take on the role of the fill light, okay? But there's other uses for a second light, and I'm sure that we cover that, and I apparently cover stands and different kind of mounting brackets and things like that. Let's see what kind of comments we got. I really enjoy your advice and suggestions. Keep them coming. I do my best. These little nuggets of info are most useful for all pros and beginners. I never had my settings already dialed in, or my stands already attached to the light bracket. Yeah, I like to have things ready to go. Why start from scratch with each and every photo shoot? Just have as much ready to go as possible so that there's not a lot of stuff that can go wrong, not a lot of thinking required. Have your default standard settings always ready to go, and go from there. You're always going to have to tweak things anyway, but if you have a point to start off at, then things will just be much easier. I'm in New York City, where a significant amount of time can be spent in traffic or searching for parking, so every second of preparedness counts. Thank you, good sir. Yes, I know the feeling. Rick Mentori, we've done our fair share of photography in the city too. Lots of traveling. I didn't have a car when I was living in New York or close to New York across the river. Did not have a car, so we dragged our gear in big Pelican and, other photography cases through the subway, up and down sidewalks, up and down stairs, a lot of stairs in buildings in New York City. And that's how it's done. And that'll really get you on that track to just doing things just minimally, just like not carrying every single piece of gear that you have. And that includes not just lighting, but camera gear. And you're looking lots of times for studios that have lights that you know how to use so that you don't have to bring your own lights, if possible. Lots of times I did bring my own lighting gear because I'm testing out new stuff that people send me, stuff that a lot of other people are going to be using at home, people who don't have access to studios and the gear that they have there. But yeah, just try to keep things minimal. Try to keep things set up as much as possible so you don't have to do a lot of that work on the spot. Yeah, and especially if you're doing stuff, say at a studio, there's going to be studio time that you're paying for. So you don't want to have to, just fiddle with all that stuff. Okay, guys, that's about all I have time for today. I hope you like this. Next time we'll go over a few more of these. Maybe a little faster than I did this time. Let me know if you like this. I'll see if I can put some more together for you. Don't forget to check out the Portrait Club. The link will be below, just like it is in this video. See you next time.